Firings, Hollywood rejection, trial separations, bankruptcy? Could this be the end of everything for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle?
We want privacy! We want privacy!
Welcome to Popcorn Palace. I am your king, Andy Signor, and I'm here with the queen. So happy to have Sue Smith here. Welcome back, Sue.
Thank you, Andy.
Well, we were having a great conversation. This is our royal guest week on both channels as I'm out this week. And I'm so grateful to all these guests that have been coming in, educating me on it. And we were getting into a really good conversation. And Sue, you really did blow my mind over in that video. If you guys didn't watch that one, you really brought together all the points for those who are just jumping into this, just how manipulative and controlling this couple is, how much there is that seems to be what they're trying to hide from us on the guise of whether it's privacy or whatever. It's just, I can't trust them. And so I want to talk about sort of a lot of the failures because we've reported on them, but I want to get your insight because you've been following this for a while. You're very well informed and there's so much currently happening. There is this thought of trial separation and Sue believes they've been separated. There's the firings from Spotify, people saying Netflix is next. There was Dior pulling out of this. Like they're like, we don't want to touch this girl when it seemed like her new Hollywood agency was about to lock up a really big deal from Dior as well. There's been so much stuff coming in that it begs the question, how can they afford all this? Another amazing mind blow that Sue told me is the house that they keep saying in Montecito, it's $15 million, $20 million house, is just a fake house that they use that's not actually there. So it begs the question, Sue, and I want to get your thoughts. Is the road currently for Meghan and Harry to bankruptcy? Do you think they can still make some money and sell this brand to sell the gossip and the tea? Do you think people are over it? Could they lose everything? What are your thoughts?
I think people are over them. It's very hard to listen to people who are so privileged, like Harry's waxing on about the environment as he's taking how many private jets in the first year. They're the kind of people that say, do what I say, don't do what I do. The constant smoke and mirrors, they never put out proper pictures. Spotify was quite smart. Spotify didn't give them too much money up front. And when they didn't meet the metrics, Spotify canceled the contract. But what's come out now is that Netflix gave them half. And so in all these years of getting $40 million, they've only produced a Netflix docuseries. They did put out that show Live to Lead, which bombed and which they didn't even do. They bought it. It was something that had been done by somebody else with the Nelson Mandela Foundation years earlier. And it did not do well. The word now is that they're going to send Harry to Africa to, I don't know, show them building houses or building huts or something. And the word is he wants Meghan to go. Meghan's refusing to go without getting more money from Netflix. And Netflix isn't willing to give them any more money.
Interesting. So I didn't even hear that rumor. The now rumor is that Harry's like, we got to bring Meghan out and Netflix. You'd think Netflix would want them both there, no?
I don't believe Meghan wants to go. She wants to stay. Meghan would really like to go back to Hollywood. The problem is she wasn't that great of an actress. The only claim to fame she has was that show Suits. She wasn't even one of the main stars of it. And actually, when she married Harry, her character was being written off. So had she not married Harry, I don't know what she was planning on doing for the rest of her life because she would have been off that show at that point. And I, for one, can honestly say I had never even heard of that show. It was a cable show.
It was a very deep cut cable show, but it absolutely, her and the show jumped and skyrocketed in popularity just because she became Meghan Markle, who married Prince Harry, the curiosity factor alone. So, it's interesting. So is there a way, do you think there's a way out of this? Like, what do you think they're going to do? I think to say that they're going to go bankrupt and lose everything is a little harsh. Like, they can do reality shows. Like, they could probably go to convention. Like, there's stuff they could do to live, right? They're loved enough and hated enough. Don't you think that the notoriety could at least keep the lights on?
I got it. It's a little unnerving because you got to realize that they need like $4 million a year just for security. They need $4 million a year. Somebody figured out for the drivers, the landscapers, the pool people, the maids, the nannies, the employees. They have so many expenses. Everybody's like, oh, they're making millions. but they're making millions, but millions are going out the door. The truth is, they're living way above their means. Prince Harry is not Mr. Wealthy. Prince Harry never had a proper job before he married Meghan Markle. Prince Harry never had to pay a bill. Everything was paid for him, and his father handed him a couple million a year for whatever. And of course, that's been cut off as well. I think they've been going through his mother's money. I think she may hang in there until I think it's 45 is when he gets the next set of inheritance, which is like $40 million. Oh, she may not even hang in that long. I think there's really not a whole lot more that he can do for her. Her reputation is in tatters, unless, of course, you're a sugar. I mean, I was listening to a sugar the other day on Dan Wooten, who said that Joe Biden is the one who invited Harry and Meghan onto Air Force One, and Harry and Meghan said no.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's just like,
the sugars are the supporters of Meghan, just for those of you who are unfamiliar. But
yes,
yeah, that's crazy. But I mean, they have their supporters. You're right. But when you add it up, their costs due to their way of living, which is against their means. Again, that whole mansion they claim to own, it makes no sense why they would even have that sort of thing. It does add to it, and it would make sense why the pressure of their marriage would be more at risk of divorce, because there is so much pressure to sustain. And yeah, Harry's got to get frustrated at a certain point, realizing, well, crap, none of this is working. Why didn't I just stay the prince and have everything paid for the rest of my life? It's got to be it's got to hit him at some points, don't you think? Where he goes, what am I doing?
Had the two of them come to the United States, had they not attacked the royal family, had they kept their heads down and actually did charitable work, they would have been the two most popular people on the planet. Instead, everything they've done has been to line their own pockets. She wrote that book. All the money from the book went to them. I think the publisher gave 1% to charity. Unlike Catherine's Hold Still book, where 100% of the millions went to charity. Everything they've done has been to line their own pockets. And that people are looking at them now going, wait a minute. And then, of course, there's the 13 million that was put into the Archewell account and was put down that they could use it any way they wanted. They got 13 million. They gave out 3 million. They kept the other 10. It's like, what do you, they need the money. They need the cash. They need a way to live. But living off other people, for me, just doesn't do it.
Well, yeah, it's the problem, and I think that's why I've gotten more hatred towards them. Hatred's a mean word. I just dislike them, and because
them.
Yeah, it's like there's just a arrogance to them, and it's like, Prince Harry is a prince. He was born into it. Like I can feel for that. Like, it's not really his fault. He was raised a certain way where he had no worries. Right? It's a whole way of living. Excuse me, and it's like I can feel that. And then he's trying to, push away from it. I don't want to. I can see sort of the struggle in Harry, but at some point he's old enough now where he's got to realize, dude, like, you had it made. What were you doing? You were born a damn prince, and now you want to leave that, call them out, and then expect everyone to just pay for you like they paid the royals? Like,
yes,
the dude needs a reality check. Do you think he's starting to see it? Maybe.
I think he's starting to see it. I think his court case. He's got like 6 court cases going. This last court case where he sat there and basically said this was about a phone hacking. He proved nothing. And then he looked at the judge before he left and he said, it would be a shame if I lost my case. I'm doing this for Meghan. Meghan wasn't even around when
he did not. Yeah. He said that?
Yeah, it's all in the news. Yeah.
He said that. He said, I'm doing this for Meghan?
I'm doing this to protect Meghan. And then he looked up at the judge and said, it would just be a shame if I lost this case. But he proved nothing. If anything, the case made him look like a joke when he's asking about these articles and how they hurt him. And then in the next breath, he admitted that either he never saw the article, or come to find out he's the one who gave the interview, or it came from other sources. It was never phone hacking. I mean, he made himself look like a fool on that stand. I'm wondering why it hasn't struck him yet that his life was so good and now it's in the toilet. And for whatever reason, he hasn't been able to figure out that this has all been going on just since he met this woman. I don't understand why he hasn't put it together.
I mean, I could see he's doing it for his family. Because his whole first girlfriend, it was revealed, broke up because of all the phone hacking and exposés, etc. But man, he's just so far gone. I felt for him, but enough people have sort of showed more like he needs to know better. At a certain point, we can't just keep being, oh, poor Harry, you dumb prince. Like you were a prince, you dummy. It's like
I mean, could you just imagine? And Chelsea Davy, by the way, said that I don't know if the press intrusion is really why they broke up, because she said that, Cressida said that he was seeing paparazzi that wasn't there. He was like seeing things that weren't there, which of course now with the drug thing, now that one might explain that. But he was flirting with other women. He was very immature. He treated her very badly. And I think that's really why she took a hike. He just couldn't hold her. And could you imagine?
He seems very immature. He always did, and he still does.
So tired of hearing about this young couple. They are not a young couple. She's in her 40s. He's coming up to his 40s. They are not a young couple.
Yeah, they really are living in the past. It's like they're like the prom queen and the prom king at high school, like decades later, still trying to live it like they're the royalty. And it's a pretty perfect example where it's like, you guys are not the royalty anymore. And they gave it up.
No.
And I think that's the other big problem. It's like, you just lose the titles, but they can't. And the fact that they won't, the fact that they want to retain those titles and then not do the work to retain those titles, really, I can see the frustration that. So yeah, you're making a good point. And the divorce, if it were to happen, would be, my goodness, perfect time to launch a Royals channel. So I will, not that I'm rooting for any divorces, but man, that would be insane to cover. But final thoughts, it does seem like with all the added costs and things, you're not wrong. It could really be the end of a lot of stuff and a bankruptcy due to their costs. I guess final prediction from you, where is this going to go?
Oh, I knew from the day they were married and she had no family at that wedding but her mother, that this was going to go down the tubes, and everybody was giving them 5 to 7 years. They're at the 5-year mark. And I firmly believe that this, at this point, if they're communicating at all, it's business only. I don't think this marriage is going to survive. I think it's been doomed since the beginning.
Fascinating insight. You really are informed. I appreciate your insight and your theories. So check out Sue Smith over on YouTube at Sue Smith Longsally. You can also find her over on at Longsally, aka Sue Smith on Twitter. Such a pleasure to have you back. Thank you. Please come back anytime, Sue. We're going to be doing lives on Fridays. I'd love to have you on a live sometime with Steph and I. So thank you so much, guys. Go support her. Support this channel, Popcorn Palace, Popcorn Planet, Steph the Alter Nerd, Sue Smith. Lots of places you can ring the bell to, smash the like on, and leave a comment down below. Appreciate you guys on this Royal Guest Week. We've had so much. Make sure you check out all the guests as well as Sue's channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more here on Popcorn Palace. I say it fancy now because it just seems funner.